Great. So, hey, everyone. Thanks so much for logging in tonight. We're really excited to be here with Accenture to talk about their roles in accounting, or sorry, in consulting. I saw the Accenture accounting, got confused. Great. So, to talk about their roles in consulting. So, we're really excited to have them on tonight. They have lots of great opportunities and roles available for you. So just quickly here, I'm going to go through some housekeeping. So a lot of you have already utilized the chat box, which is absolutely great. Feel free to use the chat box throughout the event if you want to talk amongst each other, if you have anything that you want to say to Magda or I, really anything that you can relate to, anything you want to say, you can feel free to put it in the chat box. We also have the Q&A box. So at the end of the session, we're going to have some Q&A time. So make sure if you have any questions that you put them in the Q&A box so they don't get lost in the chat box. And we'll make sure to get to as many of them as we can at the end. And then during that Q&A time, if you want to, you can feel free to raise your hand and we can unmute you to ask a question out loud. So my name is Rosie. I'm the events manager at Pathway CTM. So I get to host lots of events just like this one. I was telling you guys all about our events page at the beginning. That QR code will be on the screen again at the end. We have so many exciting events coming up for the rest of this academic year and even more to come next year. So really excited to be here with you all tonight. So before we move on to Accenture, we're going to do a quick poll. I'll go ahead and launch it. So first question, what is your favorite subject in school? Math, English, art, science, or something else? Put it in the chat box if it's something else. We'd love to hear what it is. What route do you want to take when you leave school? So do you want to go university, apprenticeship, gap year? If you put other, let us know in the chat box. Again, we'd love to find out what, or maybe you don't know. And then finally, how much do you already know about Accenture? 1 to 5, I know nothing, 2, I know everything. I'll give you guys 30 more seconds to fill out that poll. Oh, wow, Magda, lots of different school subjects in the chat box.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. Great variety.
Yeah, definitely. Cool, guys. 10 more seconds. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and close it. So what do we have here? What is your favorite subject in school? The majority of you put something else. So we see lots of great subjects that you guys are studying, and there's lots of routes into Accenture. Like we said, today we're going to be talking about consulting, but they do have other programs available as well. What route do you want to take when you leave school? Most of you said university, 53% of you said that. That's a great route. You know, university leads to a lot of open doors for you. Some of you said apprenticeship, some of you said, I don't know, those are, or an apprenticeship is a great option too. And if you don't know, then you're in the right place. You're going to hear about lots of exciting opportunities tonight. And then finally, how much do you already know about Accenture? Most of you know nothing, once again, in the right place. And some of you know only a little bit or a moderate amount. So you guys are going to hear lots of great information tonight, and we're really excited to have you here. So Magda, if you want to go ahead and share your screen, I'll stop sharing mine.
Perfect. Yes, let's do that. Just let me know if you can see my screen.
Yep.
Perfect. Cool. So welcome, everybody. I'm Magda. I am the apprenticeships recruiter here at Accenture, and I look after everything apprenticeships that we have going on here in the UK. Just a little bit of a fun fact. I myself came into Accenture as an apprentice, so wealth of knowledge. But I did a HR apprenticeship, which I really enjoyed. And you can see that the progression is definitely kind of given, as I'm here right now, kind of leading the whole apprenticeship program, which is great. And in regards to today's session, what we're going to be going through, I do have a little bit of an agenda. So we're going to start off just by kind of introducing you guys to Accenture, telling you a little bit of an insight into who we are, what we do. I will then kind of provide you with an insight to our consulting apprenticeship program, and then I'll just lightly touch onto our technology one as well. And then we'll go on to the kind of application process that is included if you was to kind of want to apply for one of our opportunities. And then lastly, as Rosie mentioned, we will have a Q&A for you guys to ask me or the apprentices that have worked at Accenture any questions at all about our culture, maybe their day-to-day life, what is included. But yeah, we'll touch on a little bit more about that later. Cool. But kicking off, just to give you some insight, we have 674,000 employees worldwide. So that's crazy. That's equivalent to the whole of Edinburgh and a little bit of Leicester, strictly working for Accenture itself. So that just gives you a kind of testament of how wide your network of people around you would be if you was to join a company like Accenture. Obviously, we also have home offices across 200 cities within 50 different countries, which once again is quite insane. So there's definitely kind of global reach and geographical kind of traveling included within Accenture, which is quite exciting if you are someone who wanted to maybe travel the world or just be on exciting projects with different people from different cultures and areas. That's definitely a possibility here at Accenture as well. We tend to specialize in 40 industries. So when I'm talking about industries, I'm referring to things like financial services. So that's like your banks, health and public sectors. So that's like your NHS or councils, the government, things like that. So in regards to those 40 industries, that's what we're referring to. And we're kind of leaders of the market within those. And we do have over 6,000 clients. So when I say that, I mean, we don't necessarily only work with one company and they have home offices across the whole globe. That would still count as one company. We literally work with 6,000 different companies across the globe, which once again is crazy, but really, really fun and exciting. One other thing as well is we have won the most diverse company or global company in the world 2 years running. So that's a testament to how big we are on diversity and inclusion. And that is something that's in the very core of our hearts here at Accenture. And just a little bit out there, just to kind of sell it further, we do make about $45 billion on an annual basis. So that's a lot of money to kind of see sieving through the company. Cool. So just to break it down even further, overall, we are the world's leading consulting and technology company who is all about helping their clients increase their profits, rethink their business strategies, and help them dominate their market. And we do this by also helping them offer great customer experiences to the customers that use their services. And we do all of this strictly by using technology and implementing innovative technologies and solutions for those companies. Okay. And just to show off a little bit further, these are some of our clients. As I said, this is just only a fraction of companies that you guys will probably know very, very well, probably use services from on a day-to-day basis. So places like Google or even your local banks, Marks and Spencer's, New Look, right? So it's very, very interesting to be able to kind of partner and work on projects with these clients, right? And kind of get an insight to what exactly it is that happens behind closed doors. Some kind of case studies that Accenture has worked on that you guys would know a lot about would be, for example, Alexa for Amazon. So we actually developed her voice. I don't know if you guys have been to Argos before. Before, back in the day, Argos used to have these paper catalogs and you have to kind of sift through them, write down like a number on a piece of paper, then take it to the cashier. But now there's like big touchscreen kiosks, right? So like big tablets. Accenture developed that. I don't know if you guys have been utilizing the track and trace app during COVID, but if you have, once again, Accenture did that. Sorry, I do have a little bit of a cold, so if I do sneeze or cough, please forgive me. But yeah, just kind of some insight into the type of work that we do and some of the clients that we do tend to help. And just a little bit of an insight out there, we are currently working with Apple as well to develop the new iOS too. So if you are an Apple user, a bit of Accenture will be with you too. Cool. So in regards to actually joining Accenture and why it would be something attractive to do for you, it's because we have plenty of offerings in terms of what we do for our people. So in regards to like training and development opportunities, they're endless here at Accenture. We're very, very big on training and development. Like in the year 2019 itself, we have spent over $1 billion just on training and reinvesting back into our people. So it might not sound like a lot of money, but it is actually a lot of money and a lot of courses and a lot of training. Obviously, just to upskill our employees for efficiency, but also because our employees wanted that. They wanted to be upskilled, they wanted to develop further, and of course, we'll offer that to them. We're also very, very big on inclusion and diversity, and this is kind of shown through by the fact that we have diversity networks. So we have networks such as the African Caribbean community, we have mental health allies, the LGBT allies, we have like women, gender allies, and a gender network. And this is basically for people who join Accenture to join a network that they feel most comfortable in, so they can widen their horizons and begin forming those further bonds with people that they maybe not have met on a day-to-day basis in their client work or whatever that may include. But it's also to push the agenda of specific diversity initiatives that need to continue happening, so that we can have a better world, in essence. We also have leisure networks, so any kind of common interest networks, whether that will be sports clubs, we have football, we have rugby, tennis, whatever you can think of, we have it. And then we have other ones like the Drinking Wine Society, right? Which is very strange, but we do. They all meet up. I think it's about once a month or so, go wine tasting, have fun. So it's definitely that type of culture here at Accenture. Even though it's work, we definitely want you guys to feel at home, and you can connect with people with all different backgrounds that have similar common interests with you, that you genuinely begin to form friendships with, which is really, really lovely. And then on top of all of those things, you also get the standard stuff like a subsidized gym membership and access to mental health apps. Because, everyone knows that working isn't easy always, or maybe you have some personal issues. Accenture definitely is a big believer in kind of having a grounded mind to be able to work efficiently, hence why we provide these services. You'd also receive a personal laptop. You'll get 3 days volunteering per year, which kind of allows you to reach out to any charities and kind of help them with whatever needs doing throughout 3 years per year. And then obviously a generous holiday allowance. So with that being said, I do have a little bit of a video that I want to play for you guys. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen so I can share it back again. I do love playing this video, as I feel like it does have quite an impact. But of course, you guys can tell me what you think. So bear with me whilst I set it up. And as Rosie also said, feel free, of course, to pop anything in the chat at any point and stage in time. And we'll definitely be going through it. Cool.
Yeah, definitely. And you guys, I think that you should really listen to what Magda is saying about the great initiatives for work-life balance. They're really, really impressive D&I initiatives. All of these things are things that you want to think about, but maybe don't realize yet when you're looking for a job in the future, because those are the things that are going to help you separate, life from work and just make your whole experience as a working professional better.
In all honesty, before I joined Accenture, I didn't know how important work culture was. I did kind of random retail jobs, and I worked at McDonald's as well. And the work culture was horrifying, but I didn't know until I joined the work culture that was actually healthy. And I was actually smiling and excited to get up for work, which is crazy to think of, but it can happen if you do kind of join a company that resonates with your morals and values. But yeah, let's just get this going for now.
Whose job is it to improve the world? It can feel like it's inevitable that someone, somewhere, will invent the tech that helps us take the next step forward. But it's not. Technology has the power to improve the world, but it won't. not without human intelligence, our ideas, our ideals. Technology can help us get there, but it won't show us where to go. That relies on bold ideas and the desire to build a better future. It won't come by asking the same old questions. It isn't tweaking the same old answers. Building a better future can't rely on doing things the way they've always been done. That future can be built by anyone. Anyone ready to think differently. The ones willing to ask, why not? The ones who look, listen, and ask, why can't this be better? Why can't that be you? There's no set vision of the future, our future. It's going to be the one you live in. So who says you can't be part of making a better one? There's no one path to making a breakthrough, and there's no one person responsible. It might start with a thought, an idea, an invention, but there's no innovation without collaboration. It begins when different people bring different ideas and different perspectives together. We need new ways of looking at old challenges, fresh experience examining new problems. It's taking the tools that already exist and asking that one question to deliver results that have never been seen. No one is saying it's easy, but if you think it's not for you, ask yourself, who else can do what you can do? Your experience, your perspective, your ideas will unlock a version of the future. We won't make progress by staying still. We won't improve the world without creating something new. And we can't do that without you. Accenture.
Cool. So hopefully that has given you a little bit of further insight as to how you guys, the new generation is important to us here at Accenture. I know that a lot of companies are quite scared of the new generation and the kind of like the old, you will see that a lot of like senior managers within that company are quite elderly and they've been there for ages. Whereas with Accenture, we're always there to kind of uplift our people, to continue promoting, because you guys are going to own the future. And who better to kind of come in and make these innovative ideas than the people who actually utilize this world to a maximum, right? You guys are still out there. You guys are still experiencing things. You guys have the knowledge to make these changes. So it's very, very important for us. And one thing that I will just kind of make very, very clear, here at Accenture, we don't sell a product. We sell the service, and the service that we sell is our people, right? Their innovations, their ideas, their thought processes. Hence why it's very, very important for us to have you guys on board. Perfect. So with that being said, if you're kind of wondering, but is an apprenticeship right for me? What does that look like, etc., etc.? I'll give you a bit of an insight, right? So, if you're someone who maybe learns better in a practical environment, then an apprenticeship is definitely good for you and beneficial. Maybe if you're someone that switches off after a while because things get tedious, maybe having someone spoken at you for quite some time, once again, then an apprenticeship is for you. If you're someone who maybe is quite keen to start earning money and gaining a salary and maybe moving out and becoming more independent, once again, an apprenticeship is for you. If you don't want no debt, but you still want a degree, an apprenticeship would be for you, okay? You would receive a degree at the end of your apprenticeship, just like any regular person that goes to university. But on top of that degree, you will have 3 years of invaluable work experience under your belt, which would kind of make you sought after in the industry, right? You will have people headhunting you and approaching you for bigger and better jobs just because you do have that 3 years at a very, very young age. And it's very admirable. And I can definitely tell you from my own personal experience, as I said, I came in as an apprentice, and look where I am now, right? And it's also very exciting. Like, no day is the same, right? Rather than kind of spending 5 days a week studying modules, you can actually make big impact and big change to the world real time, alongside doing that kind of academic side, right? So why not? And with that being said, I'm going to introduce you to our consulting apprenticeship program, which runs here in London. This is the first year we're actually running this one. We're known for our technology apprenticeship program. But this one's a very, very exciting opportunity. Our consulting graduate program is actually one of our most popular programs that we have available. So it was only right that we do implement it in an apprenticeship version. And with this apprenticeship, you would receive a bachelor's in business studies and a chartered management status after completion. It's the same length as the actual degree, which is 3 years. You'll be going to university 1 day a week, and the rest of the week you'll kind of be working at Accenture on client site, etc. And if you was to kind of be successful and complete all the modules, the kind of modules that you'll be going through would be things like economics, strategic management, operations, accounting, research, and many, many more. So it'll definitely make you a well-versed individual at the end of the process, as well as obviously having that real-time business knowledge within a huge corporate organization, right? And it's literally just amazing the amount of kind of training and support that you would receive both from the university and Accenture. So imagine when just regular university students are doing maybe their dissertation or completing kind of coursework for modules, they obviously only have their professor to kind of guide them, the teachers. But imagine having your teachers on top of real professionals that can actually tell you real experience firsthand in the business sector and guide you with that work study, right? And you also gaining that experience to then be able to tackle that workload in a more efficient manner. The only requirements that we have for this particular program is 80 UCAS points, which I think is like CCD equivalent at A level, and 5 GCSEs, including maths and English. So it's definitely not as high as majority of the competitors. And the reason why we do this is ideally in Accenture's world, we'll have no entry requirements because we believe in like an equal share fair of opportunities, but we have to have a requirement of some sort because the university that this study program is with require it, which is University of West London. But that doesn't mean that it's any less than a degree that you'll be going on to. It's literally the same. You'll still get the same exact degree if you was to go to straight to university, except from you won't have that kind of valuable work experience. And if that still hasn't kind of tickled your fancy, look at our lovely office. Why wouldn't you want to work here, right? So we have the little entrance here to the office. We have loads of breakout spaces and rooms and areas that we utilize for little team meetings or just a catch up with our buddies or career counselors, or if you just wanted a lunch away from everyone. All of our kind of hallways are very jazzy and textualized because we're all about appearance and visualization and having that impact. Little boardroom meetings for clients or team meetings, and then you have kitchens in every single corner on every single floor. You have full equipped kitchens with tea, coffee, there's chamomile, there's decaf, whatever you want we have available, just to make our environment as nice as possible when we're coming into work, because we already know that kind of working can be stressful at times, it can be full on. So we want to make sure that our employees are as safe and feel as comfortable in the environment that they're in, especially when things get intense, because let's be real, no matter whether you're doing an apprenticeship or just regular studies or a degree, things do get intense, right? Cool. And with that being said, the kind of assessment process that you would experience if you was to apply for our roles would be this. I know it does seem quite lengthy, but I promise you, even if you was to take the university route, sooner or later, you will need to go through one of these because you would need to secure a graduate position, okay? And all the best companies will always have a very rigorous application process. So why not start early? Why not kind of get your head around it, experience it, practice as kind of someone who's younger, so you already have that knowledge of how to push through. Even if you're not successful, you have the knowledge of what to expect next time around that you'll be applying for these positions, right? So I'm just going to give you a little bit of an insight for each particular area. I'm not going to dwell on it too much. So for the consulting apprenticeship, you actually won't need to do a technical interview. That's strictly for the technology one. So yeah, it will just be these 3 stages. And the initial stage is literally just a digital application, and it's like a digital CV. So if you already have the CV, you can literally copy and paste things on. And it's just about your basic information. So that's like your personal details, work experience. So here I would kind of advise you to put everything. If it was dog walking or babysitting, whatever you have done, it's still experience. There's transferable skills in everything. Okay. So the way you have to think about it is, if you did dog walking, right, I'm sure that you had to have great attention to detail, right? You had to be very, very meticulous. You had to be, you had to have great time management, because if you came late to pick up the dogs, I'm sure your customers won't be happy. So all of those, for example, those 3 skills are very, very important to Accenture. But you wouldn't never think that dog walking Accenture would align and there would be any skills that would be relevant. Hence why I just say pop in everything. It's all worth it. Then obviously, like your grades, we want to see your predicted A-level grades or your already achieved A-level grades, and your GCSEs. For additional information, that will be things like voluntary work, or if you're, I don't know, student council, or if you're in any clubs, or if you've done like Duke of Edinburgh, anything like that really, really counts. And then you have skills. With the skills section, I'll definitely always advise you guys to pop onto our website, look at words that we're using, that and the kind of terminologies, right? So maybe things like innovation, collaboration, and anything that you can resonate with, pop it in, right? Also look at the job description. What kind of people are we looking for? What are we saying the perfect candidate would be? Once again, if you can resonate with those words, pop it into your skill section. Okay, cool.
And Magda, can I add to that too?
Of course.
So I'm sure we'll be kind of going on to the interview process in just a minute. And one of the most important things about all of these, you guys, is research. And you'll find that no matter where you apply, what company, what you want to do is research, research, research. So taking those keywords that are in, the descriptions or any of those things show that you've done your research before Accenture would even meet you. So really make sure that you are looking into that. And I mean, it's the easiest thing you can do. If you see a word, put it into your application.
Literally, thank you for that. And then perfect, so that would be your first stage of application. If you're successful to proceed on to the next stage, it will be the discovery portal, which is just basically like an online assessment. And this online assessment is immersive and insightful, and it follows the narrative of a fictional client case, and it studies and showcases the best of Accenture's innovative VR. And it just basically has some day-to-day typical activities, so conference calls and emails. And some of the activities would be things like ranking answers to a question from important to least important, or looking at a data chart and pulling some information from it. And this tests your behavioral knowledge, numerical and logical capabilities. And it's just very good to provide you with an insight of what kind of issues employees at Accenture may face on a daily basis, or the type of work that they will need to be doing. So not only are we kind of checking if you're suitable, but maybe this is an opportunity for you to check whether you enjoy doing work like that as well, right? So always remember, at an interview, not only are they kind of interviewing you, but you're also interviewing the company, right? You're also checking if that company is suitable to your wants and needs, and maybe your day-to-day life. And then the last kind of process for you guys would be the assessment center, which currently is run fully virtual. And there's 5 different activities within the assessment center itself. And those are here broken down, and they will include a technology showcase, So for the technology showcase, you'll kind of receive a brief before your assessment center, and it'll be about kind of researching a technology and implementing it into an industry of your choice. And this is very simple. You'll have all the instructions that you will need on the briefing, and they'll kind of ask you to answer, I think, about 5 questions within your proposal. And then on the day of your assessment center, you just put your proposal forward to your assessor. You're allowed to refer to notes, you're allowed to kind of read off notes, whatever you feel most comfortable with, totally fine. So that's kind of an independent task that you do before the assessment center. So once again, there's not much pressure or too much pressure on the assessment center day because you have pre-prepared. And then we have a paired exercise. With the paired exercise, it's just kind of trying to see how well you collaborate on a task with a colleague. So you'll be popped into pairs or threes, and then you'll work together as a group to listen to an audio clip and gather key information and then action those points. So pretty straightforward. And then we have immersive exercises or assessments. With those, it's very similar to the online assessment. You'll have some emails to type up, or you may have to kind of act and record yourself as if you were on the phone to your manager or a client, and just kind of tackling day-to-day business issues. Maybe your client isn't happy about something, or there's been an issue within your client project. So it's those type of things, once again, kind of implementing real life scenarios within the actual assessment center, just so you get more of a taste of what to expect. And then lastly, you would also have an assessor conversation. This is probably the most kind of vital part of your assessment center because it's the lengthiest, and this will be a strength-based interview. So one thing that I would advise you guys to do is definitely research strength-based interviews and what they're about, because I know a lot of you guys may have heard of competency-based interviews, but strength-based are a little bit different. So yeah, just make sure you do your research, but most importantly, just be authentic, kind of be genuine with what you're saying. And as Rosie said, do your research about Accenture, about the apprenticeship, what you want to get out of it, etc. And throughout the assessment center, you'll also have Q&A sessions just to kind of ease your nerves, but just find out a bit more from the people who have actually had this experience, who have been in your shoes as well, so can definitely sympathize with you. It's also nice to just kind of have a grounding feeling when speaking to other people, especially in intense moments. So yeah, you'll experience all of that throughout your kind of journey here with us at the assessment center. But cool, I think it is time for our Q&A. So we do have our lovely Emily and Rashid on the call with us so far. We are still waiting for Freddie. So just to kind of give you guys a little bit of an intro, Emily and Rashid are on our technology apprenticeship program, so they can give you all insights about being an apprentice, Accenture culture, work-life balance, any of that. And then Freddie should be joining us shortly, and he works in the consulting department because obviously this is the consulting apprenticeship. We wanted you guys to make sure that you have the knowledge on the kind of projects that you'll be going through, or the possibilities, and I'm sure he can add some more insight about culture and anything else as well. But perfect. Just to kick off with you guys, did you want to introduce yourselves, tell us kind of if you're graduated from the apprenticeship, etc., and just maybe what you currently do?
Emily, do you want to go ahead and start off?
Yeah, no problem. We unmuted at the same time, so I wasn't sure who was going to go first. But yeah, I was doing the technology degree apprenticeship with Accenture, and I graduated last year. The program was 3 years in total, and so I've been at Accenture for just under 5 years now. Maths is not my strong point, but it feels like forever, and that's not in a bad way. It's been great the whole time since I joined Accenture, and the type of support you get throughout the apprenticeship from not only university, but from your project colleagues and your line manager. And we have these people who are called people leads who support you the whole way throughout your entire career at Accenture.
Perfect. Thanks, Emily. Rashid, do you want to go ahead and go next?
Yeah, hi. Hi, everyone. My name is Rashid. I joined the apprenticeship scheme about 5.5 years ago, nearly 6 years. So I think I was the second ever batch that ever joined the Accenture Technology Degree Apprenticeship Program. I graduated about 2 years ago. I had my graduation literally last Thursday. So after 2 years after COVID, I had my graduation. So I was looking forward to that. But yeah, I had done a digital and technology solutions apprenticeship degree. I'm not the apprenticeship that I done was with part of QA, so I've got an idea of that side of the apprenticeship. But the apprenticeship that everyone else is doing now is with UVL. So yeah, I've got a lot of experience, about 6 years experience in Accenture. So any questions, you can reach out to me.
Perfect. Thanks, Rashid. And then Freddie, if you just want to go ahead and introduce yourself, what your apprenticeship is, what year you're in, and any other comments you'd like to make.
Yeah, sure. Hi guys, my name is Freddie, and I am I'm not actually part of the apprenticeship program. I am on an industrial placement. So I am in technically my 4th year of uni. So I joined joined in September. So then I've done my 3rd year at uni, and then I've go back and do my 5th year at uni next year. So I go to uni at Birmingham, and I've been here at Accenture probably 6 months. And so far really enjoying it. So if you've got any questions, let me know.
Great, perfect. Well, we already have quite a few questions in the chat box and Q&A, but you guys, any more questions, feel free to ask, and we'll definitely get to as many of them as we can. So first one, I believe would be best for Magda. Do these apprenticeships start at 16 or 18 or both?
Yeah, so I was actually typing the answer to that in the chat. So yeah, these apprenticeships here in the UK are for, well, London mostly are 18 plus, so after you complete your A levels. However, we do have some in the Midlands that start from GCSEs.
Great, perfect. So anyone logged in from the Midlands might be able to start as year 16. And then not sure if you're allowed to share this, but what is the acceptance rate for applicants?
So we don't know for the consulting apprenticeship because it's really new. So that's still TBC.
Great, perfect. And then do you offer any engineering apprenticeships?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay, good to know. Great, so moving on to the Q&A box, guys, if you do have questions, please make sure to ask them in the Q&A box so they don't get missed. So first one, Magda, I think this would be for you too. Do you offer any short courses like work experience or internships?
So we do offer that. However, they're very, very competitive. So especially at a certain age. So if you're 18 plus, the only kind of work experience that we have is movement to work, which is our tech taster week, but that is an avenue into our apprenticeship program. But at kind of university level, we do have a technology summer placement, and also a consulting summer placement, and then industrial placements as well, as Freddie mentioned, but that's at university level during your penultimate year. But as I said, they're very, very, very competitive.
Great, thanks. And then with that, do you have any school leaver programs?
Yeah, so school leaver programs are mostly just the apprenticeship ones that I'm referring to.
Great. Okay, I want to get to a question for the apprentices. I see one here that I actually think all of you would be able to answer, Magda, because you were an apprentice. Did any of you have friends that went to university, and how did you find the experience of them spending time at university while you were working? Did you maybe feel like you missed out on the social side? Or were there apprentices in your cohort that made it feel like you were kind of living the university life too? So Emily, do you maybe want to go first?
Yeah, I think in my experience, my friends were more jealous of me than I was of them, because I was getting my drinks paid for at my work events and my food and my accommodation, whereas they were paying for going to university and then for the drinks they were having at university. And then in terms of the study, they were like paying for a whole week of study when really you only have lectures on a few days, whereas we squeeze all of our learning into one day and then have the rest of the week just to work.
Great, thanks, Emily. Rashid, do you want to go next?
Yeah, as Emily said, I feel like they were more jealous of me because when you get into degree apprenticeship, no one, when I first joined about 6 years ago, degree apprenticeships were very new. When they didn't know anything about degree apprenticeships. Luckily, my college did. So the fact that they were Accenture were paying for my degree as well as giving me the work experience that needed for like a consulting role or a technology role, everyone was really jealous. In other words, it's like nowadays finding a job is very hard with that experience. So the fact that I was getting the experience, everyone was like, "Oh, I wish I did the apprenticeship before." Yeah, that's it. I never really wanted to go university because of religious reasons, but yeah, I feel like I made the right choice.
Great, thanks, Rashid. And I like that you kind of mentioned all of those things. I think that those were great points to hit on. And Magda, do you want to go next?
Sure. So I think with my experience, I actually took a gap year between finishing my A levels or college and then going into kind of the apprenticeship. So I definitely felt it from the jump when I was having my gap year and everyone's just kind of out partying, etc. But I was just kind of saving my money, and then just comparing it now, I feel like, I kind of rent my own house. I'm quite comfortable, whereas my friends are still kind of living that university life in regards to kind of having to share accommodation with other people and kind of still looking for graduate roles because the market isn't great at the moment. So they're all quite tight. Whereas I'm kind of living life, I'm kind of saving money for my mortgage, and I can do that because I did an apprenticeship. So I also had the kind of flexibility of having that salary constantly coming in as well, which was very beneficial.
Yeah, of course. Thanks. And then Freddie, I know your experience is a little bit different, but do you kind of want to touch on that as well?
Yeah, so I obviously come from a university background. So I've done 3 years at university and then joined Accenture from there. And that's kind of what a lot of the people at my school did. So we all kind of went off to university, and now everyone's kind of looking for jobs. So I definitely appreciate that doing an apprenticeship obviously has its benefits, and I wasn't really given much background around that. So I didn't really know much about that, or my school didn't really tell me about it or anything. So I think it's great. You don't have the university fees, and then you get kind of real life work experience and stuff. So I think it's definitely beneficial. And if I was back at school, I would definitely kind of have it as one of my major options.
Yeah, great. Thanks. Definitely something to keep in mind. I know that a lot of you said that you were mainly interested in university, but now you can kind of see what it's like from different points of view. So you guys have a lot of great people on today to ask questions too. Great. I'm going to go to a question for Emily and Rashid. In the meantime, Magda, do you think you could put the link to apply in the chat box?
Yeah, sure, can do that.
Great, thank you. So Emily and Rashid, what does the workload look like for you guys? Emily, I'll save you this time. Rashid, do you want to go first?
Yeah, to be fair, when you do start working, nowadays, as in the new apprentice cohort, so luckily they have a day where they can study. So usually it's on a Monday. Emily can confirm. Usually it's on a Monday where they go to university and they study. When I first joined, when I first done the apprenticeship, it was all self-learning. Every 5 to 6 weeks, you'd go on a 2-3 day workshop. You do your assessments, you do your assignments. In that sense, the workload was a lot. But when you're an apprentice at Accenture, they allow you to have a lot of the managers, your line managers know that you are an apprentice, so you won't know much, and they allow you to, if you have any free time at work, they will allow you to work on your assignment. So the workload, if you can manage your time properly, then I would say it's okay. But with me, I felt it was okay because my managers knew that I was an apprentice, and I had to do a lot of work and obviously work as full time as well. But again, nowadays it's a lot easier because you're going into uni on a Monday, getting all the support you need, and you always have 24-hour support anyway from your lecturers, whatever. Emily can obviously expand on that more.
Great, thanks so much, Rashid. And great that you mentioned that kind of as you're an apprentice, your line managers and supervisors know what position you're in. They know that you maybe don't have any work experience or, you know, any experience in this setting. So not only are you getting this experience, but you're kind of helped a little bit more than you would be just in a first job.
It's like they will expect a lot from you, but they will have an understanding that you might not know a lot of things because you're starting your career off. So that helps a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Rashid. And Emily, how about you?
Yeah, I agree with that. So when I first started, I literally could barely use Excel, but my line manager said, here, this is how you do this, that, and the other. And then they suggest training that you can do in your work time, because obviously they understand you need to learn how to do the work before they just give you it and say, off you go, make 100 spreadsheets. So it was good in that sense that you can literally come with just a passion for technology, or in this case, consulting, and go from there. And time management is definitely important. On a Monday, you're expected to go to university. And if they say to you, okay, today can be a study day, meaning you only have lectures in the morning, don't just waste the afternoon and go out. You should really do the studying, because when it comes to your exams, it'll be difficult to get time off of your work, your project work, when you've already had that time for studying. Just because you didn't use it, that's going to be a problem that you need to work on straight away and say, okay, I know I have an exam. I need to revise now, not 2 days before.
Yeah, that's great advice. Thanks, Emily. Great. So moving on to the next question, and Magda, this will be for you. Do you know yet if the apprenticeship will be virtual or in person?
So it will definitely be down to restrictions. In regards to Accenture's culture on traveling and things like that, what kind of Accenture employees have the standard that you should be ready to travel if necessary, and if that's our clients' needs, then we obviously have to respect our clients' needs. So maybe part of it will be hybrid as we kind of come out of everything that's going on surrounding lockdown, but once things kind of get back to normal, it will definitely be down to our clients' needs and what we're currently experiencing. Freddie, I don't know if you wanted to add on to that, because obviously you're doing your industrial placement right now. When you started fresh, have you been fully virtual, or have you done some traveling into the office or anything like that?
So towards the start, all of my training was virtual. So I think we did probably a week, and that was all kind of virtual. And then as COVID eased down a little bit, we were able to get into the office a bit more. So we had kind of days planned where all of the placement students would go into the office and meet everyone, so that was really nice. So I probably got into the office as much as I could do, maybe like 15 times. But obviously with everything kind of tightening back up again, it shut back down again. But I think they're planning to open it fairly soon. And in fact, I think you can actually go into the office at the minute. But it's just a bit different. You now just have to book in advance compared to whereas I think in the past you could just kind of go in whenever you wanted. But it's not too bad. It's quite nice working from home. It's a bit more flexible.
Yeah, definitely. There's benefits to both. Thanks. So Magda, 2 questions that kind of go hand in hand. Are you required to work at Accenture for a certain amount of time after your apprenticeship? And are you guaranteed a job after your apprenticeship?
Sure. So in regards to kind of guaranteed a job after apprenticeship, at Accenture, it's a little bit weird. It doesn't work like that. So it doesn't kind of happen like, okay, you're at the end of your apprenticeship, you just stop working. You kind of continue working until you're promoted onto the next level, if that makes sense. So yeah, after you finish your apprenticeship, you are expected to be promoted within like a certain time period onto the kind of next steps, but it will be all down to performance performance. So if you are performing well, if you're kind of hitting all client demand and everything else, and I think that's something that Emily and Rashid can both touch on, because they would have had to gone through that kind of stage in their career, then obviously you'll kind of stay on and continue progressing, and there's no kind of time period. So after you complete the degree apprenticeship, if you guys want to just kind of utilize Accenture's name and brand and then leave with the degree, you can do that. But hopefully, fingers crossed, we won't have that, because it's not very nice. But you are welcome to do that. There's not kind of no contractual reasons that say you need to work 2 years or 1 year, because I know that some companies do that. But maybe Emily, Rashid, did you want to provide some insight into how your like promotion journey worked out after you completed your degree apprenticeship?
Yeah, for me, it was great. I was lucky. So twice a year, there's this thing called performance achievement, where Accenture look at every single person at every level's progression and say, are they achieving? Are they slightly underperforming? Do we need to work on improving any areas? And during that process, apprentices are treated the same as any other employees at the end of the apprenticeship. So you're basically assessed compared to all of the other people who are at that level. They might not have been apprentices, they could have just been a new hire from a graduate scheme, for example. And then based on your contribution to Accenture and your client, then you can be promoted. And for me, I got a double promotion straight after the apprenticeship. So I went from a level 13 to a level 11. But I don't think there's any time restriction. It's just as long as you're progressing and achieving, then you stay at Accenture forever.
Perfect. Thanks, Emily. Rashid?
Yeah, as far as I know, after the first 2 years of apprenticeship, you become like a grad. So if you're joining as a grad student, I mean, if you just finish university, you become a level 12. So we've got different levels from 13 all the way to 1. So after the first 2 years, I think first 2 years, I'm not sure if it's changed, but there wasn't any promotions because you were an apprenticeship. You were in an apprenticeship, but after 2 years, you become a grad. So once you become a grad, you get treated like a normal employee as everyone else. My journey when I first joined, first 2 years, I didn't get promoted, but after the first 2 years, I got promoted every half year or every year. So I'm a level 10 now. So from a level 13. So I've become a senior analyst. So when I first joined, it was an apprenticeship. So it was like a jump every half year or every year, which is quite good. I've known many people during my 6 years that have left Accenture after they've completed their degree apprenticeship. Some of them, obviously, they found the roles. Some of them said, "Oh, I shouldn't have left Accenture because the grass isn't always greener on the other side." So, but I managed to find my feet in my role as an employee, and I feel like I can progress even further.
Great, thanks, Rashid. And just because you just mentioned levels a few times, we have a question in the chat box too. Can you touch on what the levels actually mean?
Levels are basically what, say, if you're an apprentice, you're a level 13. If you're a level 12, you're basically an associate. If you're level 11, you're an analyst. So it goes all the way up to like Accenture leadership. So it goes to senior analyst, senior specialist, and all the way goes up to Accenture leadership.
Great. So it kind of works in reverse order.
Yeah, it just goes
Okay.
down. So
Okay.
That's how it is.
Perfect. So we have another question here in the chat box, and I'd like to hear this from all three of you. Even Magda, if you want to answer this one too. What does a day in the life look like for you? So Freddie, you haven't answered one first. Why don't you go ahead and start?
Sure. I think it very much depends. So I've been on a couple of projects in the 6 months that I've been here, and it really depends what project you're on. So my current project, maybe I'll have meetings in the day with clients. So kind of in the morning, I probably have a stand up with my team where we kind of discuss what everyone's doing that day. And then probably have another couple of meetings with the client, and then another one to kind of regroup with the team, and then kind of in between that completing kind of small tasks. So there's quite a lot of Excel kind of analysis of data sometimes, making PowerPoint decks quite a bit to kind of showcase what we've been working on to clients, what they're looking for. And then, yeah, I mean, it really, really depends. And when you're in the office, it's very different to when you're at home. I think if you're in the office, you're kind of chatting to all of your co-workers and stuff. Whereas at home, I suppose it's a bit more on your own, but you can still kind of connect with them kind of throughout the day.
Yeah, definitely. So every day sounds like it looks kind of different.
Yes, exactly.
Which is great. Cool. Rashid, do you want to go next?
Yeah, as Freddie mentioned, obviously, it depends on exactly what project you're in. There might be you might be in a project management role, you might be in a testing role, you might be in a software engineering role. So it really plays out on what role you are in. So right now, if I'm in a testing role, I'll probably have a meeting at 9:30. It's a stand-up call. We'll give them the updates of what we did yesterday and what we're planning on doing during the whole day, and have a few more other meetings during the mornings with the clients or even with your line manager. And if you're a tester, obviously you start testing whenever you're ready, really. So from, say, I've got meetings from 9 to 11. From 11 to around 5 o'clock, I probably would just do my work that was needed. Again, like I said, it's different for every single project, but that's my kind of day.
Perfect. Thanks, Rashid. And Emily.
My days are quite different every week because my role is a release manager. So I have to kind of work around the releases. And where our teams are based in India, that means when we have a release go live, so when our code goes into the production environment for our client, we have to start work at 2:30 in the morning on those days. And we make sure that there are no issues with the release that we're delivering into the production environment. And then if there are, then the day is slightly longer. And then I make up for the long days with extra days off during the week. That's called time in lieu. So my weeks are different based around a release schedule. There's a release every 2 to 3 weeks. And when we don't have a release, then my days consist mainly of having meetings with the clients to see, okay, what scope would you like to have in the next release? And is that achievable? And then we assess, okay, that's your request. Now, how are we actually going to deliver that scope? And at the minute, where there's quite a lot of COVID impact across all of our teams, it's a lot of reprioritization calls with the stakeholders. So they say, oh, my project's more important. And then another one will say, no, mine is. So you're kind of managing all these different people and saying, okay, you have to agree before we end the call. And then they come to an agreement and then we go off and deliver whatever they've agreed on.
Cool, yeah. So if you guys are kind of interested in a role where every day could look a little bit different, I would definitely say Accenture sounds like it's a great place to work. And like we said earlier, you factor in all of those things when you're thinking about where to apply and where you want to work. I know that I couldn't do a job where every day I just went in and looked at an Excel or did the same thing. So it sounds like while all of your roles are different, you still all have that kind of good, different day-to-day work life. Yeah, great. So it is 6:58. So let's do one more question that I'd love to hear from Emily and Rashid. We have a question. What A levels did you study before joining Accenture? So Emily, do you want to start?
Yeah, I did English A level and, oh, this feels like so right, ever ago. English and History A level and a BTEC in IT.
Cool. And Rashid?
I did BTEC level 3 extended diploma in IT.
Cool. Okay. And then, Freddie, you too.
I did maths, chemistry, biology, and further maths.
Great. But Magda, you mentioned earlier that there's not specific A levels that you need to take, right?
No, definitely not. We have people have joined our kind of technical side of things that have done things like, as Emily mentioned, like history, geography, politics, just standard business. For example, I came into Accenture, I did performing arts. So yeah, I have been taught to sing and dance, nothing business related, but I'm still excelling. So it very much is varied. And you know, someone like Freddie, for example, done something quite STEM, so very much sciencey and mathematical, but he's still kind of focusing on like the consulting side of things rather than kind of technology. So that's quite interesting as well. So it just varies. There's going to be a variety of different people specializing in so many different things.
Great, perfect. Well, then it is 7 o'clock, so why don't we go ahead and wrap up here. Thank you so much all for being here tonight. Thank you, students, for joining and asking such great questions. I hope you got a lot of great information tonight with the Accenture presentation, and thank you guys all for being here and answering everyone's questions.
Perfect. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.